What is going on, everyone? This is a special, just quick live Be the Trader recap on what's to come and what to look forward to, and a little bit about this trade. So, first, NAOV. I'm looking up because that is where my chart is. So, you're probably going to see up my nose and stuff. But I want to just share with you how I've traded this today. And it ended up being a loss for me. And it was a short sell. And the reason why I shorted this, well, before I go into that, let me give you an idea of how the market has been. If you've been trading for some time, you know how the market has been. But from my perspective, let me at least share that. And what I mean by that is the market's been really, really slow. And the past 2 months have been very active. And then September has been very slow where, I placed, I think, one trade this week so far, 2 or 3 trades last week, and then 2 trades the week before. So it's been very slow, and you might be thinking, man, that's not a trade at all. It's not at all. I usually, if the market's hot, I'm placing at least 1 trade a day, and I'm very selective on what I trade, when I trade it, and I'm looking for 3R gains, right? Risking 1R to make 3R. That's how I trade. I've always been that way. So, what's up, Goku? By the way, Goku. Got Goku back there. So, I'm always looking for that 3-to-1 gain, right? And I'm very selective. I have some friends of mine who are traders. Obviously, you guys know on the show I interview all these traders. And I have some who trade every day. I have a buddy of mine who's been on the show, Scott. Great trader. He's great in his own lane. He's really good at trading. And he's trading every day 5-6 tickers, right? And I talk to him every day, and I'm like, man, Scott, there's nothing to trade. And he's like, what are you talking about? I'm trading like 5 tickers. So there's just different ways to trade, and I know that. But the way I trade in the small cap world is I mainly short gap and craps, and there hasn't been a lot of them with big moves, right? We haven't had a lot of big movers lately. And so this September, it's been so slow that I talk about the idea of mirages, right? It's easy to be fooled, right? When you're starving, when you're thirsty and you want to trade, it's easy to just kind of like, I'm going to go ahead and trade. Like this one looks pretty good. I'll take it. And that is very difficult to recognize because when it's a mirage, if you're in the desert and you're thirsty and you see an oasis, you're not thinking right away, is this real? You're thankful, right? And that's how I was today. And that's the mindset that I've been in. Like I've been like waiting for setups, just waiting, sitting on the sidelines, on my hands, not placing trades, and just waiting for the right setup. And finally, one of those setups have actually come up today. And it didn't work, which we're going to talk about in NAOV. It didn't work, and I'm going to talk about how I managed it and why it's important to recognize really when you're on the wrong side of the trade, right? And not be stubborn. And Hari, welcome, man, welcome. Yeah, thirsty guys never get the girl. That's so true. Yeah, that's why I use that word thirsty, because in my culture, when we say stop being thirsty, that's what that means. So funny you say that. With that being said, NAOV was a stock that I was very interested in. I'm going to tell you why. I like to look at big picture first. On the big picture, horrible chart, right? You look at the weekly chart. Terrible chart, garbage. Daily, we have these spikes that failed, so I drew these lines here, right? Support and resistance, key areas on the chart. Not to mention, we're denying the key area, right? Now, at the open, let's go in. At the open, when I saw this spike and fading, I had an idea of maybe what I wanted to see is I wanted to see a spike and fell above this 130 area. And I was risking around 130. I actually was risking 136. If it hit 136, I was out. So I didn't get stopped out on this trade. I never got stopped out. I actually just chose to get out, and I'll explain why I did that. But I actually shorted my initial short at 110. Really early. So 110 is like right here, right at the open. And then when it spiked and failed at 124 and came back down, I got in at 115, had an average of 111 or something like that. My average was 111.5, so 112. And I had full size and I was still risking 136. And I wasn't happy with that because I I got in way too soon more when it didn't confirm yet, because at the time we still had this trend line going. You could see that here. And so I should have waited until it broke, which normally I would, to add more size. But this case I didn't. And the reason I didn't do it is because of the fact that I'm thirsty, right? Like I've been waiting for these plays. And so whenever it finally broke above this 124 level, it started consolidating here. I said, you know what? I'm going to cover half of my position and then re-add it up here, which I did, which I'm very happy with. And when I did that, I almost got stopped out here because, you know, it popped up to 134 and then came back down. And I was like, great entry on my second position. I'm happy with this trade. I'm going to have a stop at 136. If you're wondering why I'm not sharing my chart, don't worry. If you have been following me for some time, if you haven't, welcome to the show. I have a series called Tandem Trading where I share everything. Like I record my screen when I trade. I'm talking to a mic when I'm trading. I'm talking about like, this is what my plan is. Here's what I want to do. Here's what I'm going to execute. And then when I'm in the trade, I'm like, man, I'm nervous because of X, Y, Z. And I do it so detailed because not to be rude, it's not for you, it's for me, right? It's to get better. I watch my video over and I'm like, that's how I can get better. I made it into a series because I've realized that no one's doing that and releasing it. So I started releasing it. So this video will come out soon, especially to the members who are part of the channel. I don't know if you know this, but I just released a join membership. You could join the channel to support, just saying thank you. You don't have to do it. At the end of the day, you subscribe. I appreciate that so much. You watch, you give a thumbs up. I appreciate that so much. But if you just want to go above and beyond and kind of support the channel and want me to, encourage me to make more content and say thank you, it's just a good way. Check out the join, click the join button, and there's another way you can support. You'll get way more tandem series than the normal subscribers. Now, with that being said, when I was short here, I had an average of 119, so it wasn't the best, right? That's like right here, and because I added it right here at 125 on this drop. And then once I add it, I almost got stopped out immediately at 135. Remember, my stop is at 136. I'll even put a mark here just because you guys, I don't want y'all just trying to guess. So I had to stop at that line. But then when we got this tank, I was very happy about this tank because I was like, okay, great. All of the longs, and here's where psychology comes into play. I'm thinking all of the longs and are thinking this is a failed breakout. They accumulated all of these shares for a bounce, and we didn't get the bounce. I mean, we got the bounce, but we didn't get the actual breakout. Now we're getting rejection. So I was very confident at this time. And I said, you know what? I'm just going to hold this till the end of the day. Now, granted, at the time, and it may be easier to see, I actually was thinking, and this is where being thirsty, I was thinking, here's the trend line, but this is not the trend line. This is so early. I like to look at the 5 minute. Look at the 5 minute. There's no trend, but here there is a trend. Look how clean that is. So I felt confident when it broke this, but I also like that we were accumulating all of these longs up here, right? And then we tanked. So I'm happy with that. So when we got this bounce here, I was not worried. I had my stop. Then we had this pullback. I was still good to go. I was a great lower high. I'm loving it. And then when this happened right here, when this happened, I was like, okay, I'm not going to stop out. Even if it pops, I'm going to still risk this 135. I know it's risky, but that's the way I see these plays. I see this happen over and over. But then when we got this little drop here with a weak break, right? I zoomed in here with this little weak break, and then we go back above it. Look, guys, that's accumulating shorts. That is all it's doing. It is basically playing with me. It's playing with the shorts emotions, and it's trying to say, oh, come on in, guys. It looks great. I'm ready for you. And then, nope, it just squeezes. And I actually covered at 121 at a 119 average, which I'm very proud of because it was just obvious. I mean, look at this chart. And if you were long, I mean, it's obvious. Like I even said in the video on tandem trading, this is where we should go long. And granted, I don't like to go long that much. So you go long here and you're great. You're gravy. But long story short, what I want to mainly emphasize on, and look, the fact that it's about to break down right now looks nice. And on a normal type of setup, I would take it. I'm not gonna lie, this is a nice setup. Like especially we had a weak breakout. We had a shove at resistance 150. We're consolidating under the previous highs and we're about to break trend. If that were to happen and it was a normal circumstance, I would take that trade. But I'm not going to take this trade today because this stock's already proven to me that it's playing with the shorts. It's literally playing with the shorts. That's what it did here, and we squeeze. Now, granted, that's not the only reason I'm going to take it. But the other reason is this is like the first really big mover in a while in terms of a big percentage mover and in a 1 day window, right? And so there's a lot of shorts in this, and everyone is seeing what we're seeing right now. And so they're all thinking the same thing. When this 120 breaks, I'm getting in, or they're priority short in this consolidation because of the fake breakout and holding under the resistance, which makes sense. But because there's so many people shorting this, and the shorts weren't expensive, they weren't cheap, but they weren't expensive. If you guys know, I'm partnered with Cobra, and you get a discount if you reach out to them. They're my favorite broker. They get cheap borrows, but they're not expensive. And when I borrowed, right now I'm thinking, you know what? This is normally where I would short, but in this case, I'm not, and I may miss it. And that's where you need to be okay with missing the play, because at this time, here's also what I'm looking at. Whenever you get this 122 break, what's the risk reward? I mean, sure, you could risk this 135, so you're risking 10 cents. And you could say, you know, maybe I won $1. What is that, 20 cents? That's garbage. Now, if you're a scalper, hey, that's golden. You know, if you're someone who likes 2 to 1, go for it. But for me, that's not for me. And yes, you could see it technically go to 80, 70 cents because it's already up 100%, right? But 105% to be exact. But $1 is such a key level in terms of any sub-dollar stock. When it's under $1 and it finally breaks $1, so many people who are beginning traders, which it does help, they're buying, holding as long as it holds over $1 because they're thinking, you know what, if we break above $1, then we're not going back and we're just going to keep going. And more times than not, when a stock breaks above $1 with volume like it has today, and it's been shaking out shorts, and we had fake high days, and then lower highs, and then consolidation, break this trend, and then go reverse and squeeze. And then what is it doing? It may be just sucking in shorts. Look at this. We break high day, then come back in consolidation. Now we're breaking this. It would not surprise me if we just immediately just came back over, hovered, and then squeezed towards the end of the day. It just wouldn't surprise me. So the odds are not really on my side because of how the stock has been acting, how it's been acting from the beginning to the end. And that's what I'm recognizing, and that's what separates me whenever I used to trade 3 years ago. I'd just be like, oh, look, it's a pattern, it's breaking trend, let's get in. Like, that is great when you first start out because you don't really know what you're looking for, right? But I'm looking at the whole picture and the market. Like, the market's been so slow that we haven't had anything really like this in a while, in like at least 2-3 weeks. We haven't. And so I'm waiting for the day, and this may be it, where we start to get that big squeeze, where we start to get the one that all the shorts who are stubborn, the shorts who are like, nah, this has got to be dead, that they get that massive squeeze going, and then the market comes back alive. We almost had that the other day. I say the other day like it's yesterday. I think it was last week on Friday. Maybe it was Kodak. I'm not sure if it was Kodak or someone else. But there was one stock that looked like it was dead, and then at the very end of the day, it came all the way back. That's what we're looking for, and look how it's acting right now. Granted, it could die, but at the same time, it could do this again. So remember, it hovered underneath and then went over? This could do that again, and if it does that, we're going to get a nice squeeze. But because the main thing is the range is garbage, so I'm not touching it anymore. Now, with that being said, the reason I took it here is because, yeah, the range looks the same. But with this strategy, more times than not, if we're going to get that pullback and everyone starts panicking, well, we're going to go. And we're going to break below 1. So that's the other difference. So why are you using Thinkorswim platform? Why do I use it? I use Thinkorswim to view the charts all the time. Because look how easy it is, man. It's so user-friendly. Look at this. I can switch to all the time frames. So user-friendly. It's so quick. And when I put an alert, let's just say I put an alert real quick. As soon as I put that alert, well, it went away because let's go below. As soon as you put this alert, it goes to my phone. And so I'm the type of trader, whenever I place a trade, I walk away. I'm not trying to replace, like, I know a lot of you guys see traders who in and out all day, they're sitting at the desk all day, and I'm not ragging on them. But I don't want to be that trader. I'm the trader who I place a trade, I walk away, go to the gym, work on Be the Trader, work on the podcast, work on YouTube, work on other things. I'm building multiple sources of revenue, right? I'm working on everything because trading is just one source of revenue. I'm not trying to be dedicated to, I'm not trying to create another full-time job, right? Why would I do that when you can make trading freedom, right? And some people, we get lost. Like when I first had my corporate jobs, making six figures, and I loved it, I left cold turkey. Like the reason I did that is because I wanted to have freedom. But then somewhere along the way, I did get lost and I was just trading all day. And that's not what I want. So that's why I place a trade and I walk away and I'm in. And that's why I'm looking for 3-to-1 big gains, small risk, and it's a limited trade. Sometimes I place like this week. It's only been one this week so far. Algo, yeah, Califte 23. What's up, man? Yep, I agree. These algos, that's probably what this is. I was talking with Phil Godeker on my show. That episode's coming out soon, by the way. And he was explaining that these algos are coming back, and so is Mike Spinoza. He was like, we're recognizing that the market's acting different. We're in a new cycle. What's up, Alex? Hey, Alex. Yeah. I know. Oh, you did ask me? Yeah, well, I appreciate you being here, bro. Appreciate it. The main thing that I look for when it comes to an all-day fader, just to answer your question real quick, is I want something that has big range. And I prefer it to be at least up 50%. Like I'm a little picky, I'm a little anal about that. I don't like something to be up just a little bit. I mean, there's stocks that are up 30%. Sometimes I'll trade them if it's like a $7, $8 range, right? But if it's like up 50% and it's only $1 or maybe 50-cent range, 30-cent range, I'm ignoring that. Like it's not just percentages. It's percentages, the range, and the chart. Like if the chart is weak on the daily, if you look at this daily chart, this is garbage, right? Then I'm really excited about it. And then plus we have these pops and fails. That's what I'm looking for. And it's not as simple as just that, because I'm also looking for what is it acting like when it gets here. If it's acting weak and if it shows slow down the tape and it starts to reverse, I'm loving it. But if it's showing speed up, then I'm not touching it. So it's just not, oh, here's gap up, I'm shorting. Because if it's that simple, then we'd all be trading the same thing, right? What is this pattern called? Well, Brian, I mean, patterns, you can make the name whatever you want, brother. But I call this, at this time, gap of crap. But now, I mean, at this time, you can call it whatever, a trend line break, on a late day trend line break, which I talked about that earlier. If you just joined me, thanks for joining. By the way, everyone who's here, appreciate you. I was just reviewing NAOV. I traded it today. I did tandem trading on this. So if you want, a lot more tandem trading series, what is that? Just FYI. It's whenever I record my screen while I'm trading for myself, right? So let me give you an example. I'm trading, I'm recording my thoughts because I had this idea. If I record my thoughts while I trade and my screen, I review it, I'll become consistently profitable. And I did. And I kept doing that. And I have months of it. And so because I have that, it's quality information because it was used to train me. And now I'm just packaging it and putting it on YouTube for you guys to help y'all out. And so far, thank you guys for the subscribers. Thank you guys for the likes. Thank you for everything, man. It means a lot. It really does. Because of that tandem trading, I'm going to keep bringing them out. And I'm going to release this one out soon to the members who join. I just released a join button where you can join the channel. And it's really, man, at the end of the day, man, I appreciate it. Even if you don't, it's all good. But it's really just a way to say thank you and support the channel. That's what it is. And it helps me continue this work. So I appreciate that. But anyway, the best broker for shorting, Vanden, that's going to be Cobra Trader. I may be biased, but I mean, I've tried Interactive Brokers. I've tried Centerpoint. The Interactive Brokers, they just expensive, don't really have that many borrows. Centerpoint have a lot of borrows, but expensive as hell. And I think it's because they think they're top notch. I don't know. Trade Zero, I don't fucking like them because they're too expensive. I think so. And then I had E-Trade, which is free, right? I wish, but they don't have shit, right? For any of the stocks I trade. But I use Cobra. I am partnered with them. So if you're interested in them, let them know you heard from me. You do get the same discount I get. But that's just to answer that question. Trying to get to y'all's questions, playa. Caliph, given the market conditions we're in lately, I've just been scalping my way through. That makes sense. Actually talking to some episodes coming out, FYI, appreciate you being here. Some episodes coming out are another one with Phil Godecare, Mike Spinoza, Nathan McCon from Investors Live, and we're all talking about the current cycles in the market. And right now we're in a scalper's market, guaranteed, which is why I'm not trading, right? Which is why last week I placed 3 trades, the week before 2 trades, this week only 1 so far, because I'm not a scalper. And that's just not me. And I'm not dogging any people like that. Before, I hated scalpers if you've been following me for some time. But I've learned now that there's so many type of traders, so many ways to be successful. And I get it. I was wrong. So at the end of the day, if that's your style, you're killing it probably, because you could scalp these moves easily. But it's just not, it doesn't fit my style. Brian, I think I answered your question. But yeah, you could say, thanks, Matrix boy. Matrix, gotcha. Triangle pattern, yeah, you can easily see a triangle here. At the time, it looked like an ascending, which it was right here, which is why when it broke out, it spiked, right? And then now, it just looks like it's a trend break. It just looks ugly. But I use price action, 100%. Like, I don't really just look at the pattern. I'm looking at the price action, and I'm looking at the overall market cycle, where we're at, and how things are acting. James, I don't use average true range, brother. I just started using Benzinga Pro because, they offered me a free subscription to give it a shot. And it's, for me, I can't really give you a review on that. But what I will say is it shows me ATR, right? Average true range. I may play with it, but what I do is I've been trading for 3.5, 4 years. So I've been looking at the same pattern over and over and over, that I kind of see and know where I'm going to cover. And the reason I know where I'm going to cover is in terms of support and resistance. It's how I kind of gauge that. And if it's an all-day fader, that means I'm holding it all day, and I'm willing to give up gains till the end of the day, 100%. What's up? I don't know your name. I can't read it. It's in a different language. BLNK, you mentioned pick red candle below support, start of a downtrend. I don't know, brother. I'm not on that right now, but maybe I'll get to it in just a second. I'm trying to read y'all's messages. Sorry if I'm going slow. So then, for example, would you not expect NAOV to become an all-day fader then, right? But if the price was, let's say, $5 and the same percentage up, and the price action would be... No, I actually did expect it to be an all-day fader at the open. And I talk about that. Hopefully when I replay this, when I post this on the site or the YouTube, you can replay it and you'll see the beginning of what I was exactly looking at and why I was thinking the way I was thinking. Was it right? Was it wrong? I actually talk about that too. I think I've been in a desert and I'm thirsty. Right, Goku? I'm thirsty. And so I'm like, let me get something. And we finally see it. And look how long it's taken for this thing to die. Do you see this thing? This thing is not dying. And yeah, we might get a tank right now. How funny would that be? This thing is not dying. Like, if this was going to panic, we would have had a panic already. We have about 20 minutes left into the close. We'll see what happens. And it could die. I mean, the one thing with the market that I have to emphasize so much, that so many people always ask this, like, they don't always, but people are always like, how do you know when XYZ is going to happen? No one knows anything. Those big traders that you idolize, Tim Grattan, a good friend of mine, love him a lot. He doesn't know shit about what's going to happen next. Dux, he doesn't know what's going to happen next. Nate McCaw, he doesn't know what's going to happen next. Me, I don't know shit's going to happen next. But what we do is we look at the big picture, which I'll do again in just a second, and then we look at the big picture, we look at the sentiment, we look at the patterns that we see, we look at the volume, and then we put all that together and we develop a probability of what will happen. And then we place a bet. It's really what happens. Brian, oh really, man? I don't watch that guy, but I don't really follow him at all, so I can't really say anything. The recorder that I use, Shane, is OBS. OBS, really good system, easy to use. What's up, Brian? I'm not sure what you're trying to say, but cool. Price action plus levels over anything. Caliphate. I agree, man. I agree. Someone got flagged. Why everything trading like a bitch? I don't know what he was trying to say, but he got flagged for that. What's up, Becky? How you been? It's been a long time. Not long, I don't want to say it like I haven't seen you, but it's good to see you. Feel like people recycle and then dump, keep doing for a whole day. Yes, that's what it feels like. It actually feels like it's more of a scalper's market. Yeah, the short bear, all day faders, they both said yes, but then they back out multiple times. So I don't know what to say about that. That's your own judgment. I just don't know. So I'm done. Shane, thanks. No problem, brother. Izzy, you can't really say it's an all day fader all day, dude. We got 20 minutes left. What has been doing all day? Not fading. Now, maybe it's going to start going down. I don't know. So what I want to get back to is how do I kind of gauge what's happening? Thanks, DJ Day Trader. Appreciate that, brother. So what I want to get back to is, here's what I'm looking at. When I look at this chart, let's just get rid of these lines real quick. When I look at this chart, the first thing I see right now, like if I just come to this chart right now, I'm like, all right, cool. We definitely have a trend here, right? Obviously, we got this trend here. Boom. We got the trend, and you have to draw it. We had a breakout, slightly a breakout, right? But we had a failure. So we sucked in shorts, which I was a part of, right? I was a part of right here. And then we let them know, hey, there's a lower high. And then we start to consolidate above this trend. And then we break under it to fool those shorts who added onto this breakdown, right? And then we squeeze them, right? And I got out like right here at 120. So then we squeeze. And then you're like, oh, well, at this point, everyone who bought around here, which they saw the trend line, they saw the squeeze, maybe they see it above $1, not to mention, right? Above $1 is a key area in anything that's under $1 the day before. $1 is so strong. It's a magnet. And it's not only a magnet, but it's a trampoline. It'll lift you off, right? It's a launching pad. And so because of that, we have people buying, like a lot of new people who may not know how to trade, right? I don't know, but they just buy, right? And they don't really have an idea, have a plan. They're just buying like, oh, it's above $1. I'll risk 10 cents. I'll risk 15 cents. 15 cents ain't much because I'm holding this for 5. You know, like they're thinking illogical. So when they think that way, they're holding it. And until it breaks under $1, they're not really scared. And so that's why when we get the squeeze and we get this kind of fake break, you have shorts who are like, ooh, 150, that's a key area, right? $1.50 area. Look at that resistance here, support. So at that point, they're going to be sucking in shorts. There's some algo playing. There's some big money possibly playing here. And then you have people shorting it, riding it down. Hopefully it breaks this trend. We break the trend. And now we're going down. But at this point, I'm seeing this as, look how many fake outs we've had. We had fake out breakouts. We had fake out breakouts, sucking in shorts, sucking in longs. Like, it's not, the odds aren't really one way or the other. If I was to trade this right now, you just got to be careful. You got to trade it with small size. You're really just gambling, like really. And if we were going to break down, we would have broke down already. Look how slow this is. You short this 120. It's just not big, and the range sucks. I mean, you can't expect $1 to break today. You just can't. So that's how I would look at it, and that's why I would take no trade. Now, if this held the trend perfectly, which it happens the whole day, and then it broke with volume. The volume sucks. Look at the volume compared to that. Look at this volume, guys. This is where you got to understand. Look at the volume breakdown compared to this volume. Let me show you this in a 5 minute. I like 5 minutes. 5 minutes is way cleaner. Look at this volume breakdown compared to this volume, compared to this. If these rejections didn't help. What makes you think this is going to be any different, right? Now, I could be wrong, and that's the thing with trading. You got to be willing to be wrong, but I'm not going to take a trade, put my money on the line, risking when the odds are in my favor. And so if the volume's not there either, like, why would I take that trade? It just doesn't make sense. It doesn't feel right. But if it held all day and volume came in, like this kind of volume came in on this break, and it held trend all day, didn't have these fake outs, then this would be a really good setup. But it's not. It's not. And I'm a picky trader. Remember, if you followed me, I don't trade much. I am very picky. I'm going to read a little bit more. Has your perspective of scalping changed after interview, Mike? No, yes, it hasn't changed because of that. It's just changed because, to be honest, I just been, not just Mike, but Mike, all these traders, Phil, Nate, like, I don't like it. I still don't like it, but doesn't mean I hate people. I never hated people who did it, but I see why they do it, and I see when it makes sense to change, right? So that is pretty much why I'm just growing more mature. I was being naive, being dumb, and being just ignorant, right? I just wasn't thinking clearly. I was just thinking my way only, and that's the inappropriate way. Yeah, Becky, no range. And if you were here earlier, I was just letting you know I only traded like 3 last week, 2 the week before, 1 so far this week. So it's been very slow. Alex, if something is as beaten down as AIM was this morning, you didn't really expect it to fade, right? I don't know, brother. I'm not talking about AIM today, right now, and I didn't even look at it in terms of a trade. So I can tell you that I saw it in the pre-market and I ignored it. So that basically tells me that I didn't like it. Izzy, Alex, I already answered that question, brother. I'm not trying to be rude, but just let you know, you can rewatch it from the beginning. But people who have been here already heard the answer. I just don't want to keep on repeating. And then this video will be published. Izzy Bambino, I got in at 127. Second solid green candle showing a breakout in volume. Came in. Cool, man. Good job. Becky, just be careful. Just be careful. I don't think it's a good play personally. I wouldn't even look at this as a gap down play tomorrow, even if it gaps down. I think that would be really risky because of the price action today. Because look at this price action. Like, who wants to be a part of this? Like, it's garbage. Yeah, we have this little squeeze, but it's garbage. And now what I like to see is I love for this to see we hold anywhere above 1. Tomorrow we may have a gap down, but we're going to break below 1 and then squeeze and go. And then we have a shove above 148 and we continue. We have our first multi-day runner. Then I'm interested. Or that's the only way I'd be interested in the stock. Or tomorrow we gap up a little bit in the 120s, 130s, and then spike above 150 and then go. Then I'd be interested. But other than that, if we just gap down, yeah, you could build a case. There's tons of people underwater, right? If we gap down, but there's not a lot of range to me, and I just don't like it personally. Doesn't mean you shouldn't. I just don't like it. I won't trade it. Let me just answer this because now multiple people are asking. So AIM, the biggest thing with AIM, number one, this is a bad short. Obviously, look at this. It just freaking went. This just trailed the whole time. Look at that. Like, I'm so glad I ignored it because this is not a good short. And the reason it's not a good short is I think what was the range on this, guys? Look at this. This closed at 204. It opened at 236. Really, like, the range sucks. That's, what is that, 15%, 20%? Like, and it's only, what, 36 cents max? And it already faded from 95. Like, don't even touch that. Like, no thank you. The odds are higher that we're going to be buyers, which we did. And when we held and we just consolidated and kept on going, and we held trend until here, and then we finally broke. But this is also choppy. It's not clean. Look how the range is just not clean. Like, let me show you. So we have this trend here, right? We broke it at 10:30, which is 11:30 Eastern. That's way too early of a break for me. I wouldn't touch it. But then if you draw, let's go to a 5-minute. And you can easily see that, right? That's a nice trend. And then we finally broke it. You could build a case shorting, risking here. And you could actually have a nice short, going for 40. Maybe you have to cover right here in the 44, shorting at 60s. I don't like it. And, risking 8-10 cents to make, 20 cents? Nah, that's best case scenario. But more than likely be covering around here because of the way this pattern is. It's just 15 cents. Like, that's not worth it to me. Like, when you place a trade and you're going to go take any kind of stress, right? You're going to have stress. I don't care if you're Tim Grittani, Steven Ducks, because when they size in, they still have their heartbeat. So when you think that when you're not successful and when I become successful, I won't have all these problems, you will. The problem is, or the benefit is, all these traders who made it, like when I found consistency and I haven't made it, I just found consistency and I'm consistently profitable. But like when I say made it, I'm talking about Ducks, Grittani. And when they get to their level, the only thing that they do differently from you is, or an unprofitable trader, is they recognize their issues and they accommodate for it and they plan for it. That's the big difference. All right. So all right. So I think that's pretty much it. Okay, let's see. Penny stocks are POS, but still good at catalyst for 5 a.m. That's a long question, brother. Matthias, what was your biggest mistake as a beginner? My biggest mistake, I'm not going to go into Blink ES. I mentioned that earlier just because I didn't even look at that pre-market or all day today, so I'm just not going to look at it right now. But my biggest mistake as a beginner was not really taking the time to hone in and figure out what my weaknesses were, right? Not recognizing that, my weakness was, maybe my personal weakness was, I was longing when I was great at shorting. So as soon as I eliminated the longs, I became profitable. And then the next step for me was, as soon as I did that, I was like, how do I eliminate my mistakes? And my biggest mistake of all was cutting my profits way too soon. And if you've been following the show, Be the Trader, from the very beginning of my show, when I left my job, I talk about leaving my job. I talk about how I failed, and you see me unprofitable, too profitable, right? So like, you hear all that. But one of the things I noticed is I wasn't really paying attention to why I was cutting my profits. And what I recognize is I would always cut my profits whenever I gained some, and then it was going back. So I was like greedy, right? I was like, man, there's a problem there. So what I did is I got real strict. I just said, you know what, my goal is going to be 3R. And so I had that first goal. And then eventually over time, I was making 2.5R average. Because when you have a goal of 3R, for me at least, I would end up covering when you got close to it, right? Because I was scared it was going to go against me. And then I changed my perspective by saying my goal is a minimum of 3R. So now I don't cover until it gets there. And then I have some trades now, granted, I don't trade often, but some of my trades I'll make 5, 6R on one trade. So that works for me. I like it. Less stress. So then I just changed my perspective. I'm freaking burning up, guys. I got to turn my fan on. My previous career, I was a VP in a firm in Dallas for sales. I taught sales. I went all around the country, sold to hospital CEOs, and that's pretty much it. And I also trained my team to do the exact same thing. We cold call $100 a day, go run meetings every other 2 weeks out of every month, face-to-face meetings. It was a burnout, but pay was great, and I saved all that money and then I left. So real quick, guys, I just want to let you all know, thank you so much for being here. Thank you for watching me live. I appreciate it. Please, if you could do me a huge favor, hit that like button, hit that subscribe. And if you haven't, share this with a friend, because I'm really trying to change the world up in terms of the trading industry and try to provide as much value as I can. So please help me out and share it with a friend. And if you feel enticed and want to support another way, hit that join button. You got 2 tiers. Pick one of those tiers, join the channel. support me in a different way. I really appreciate that. And if you can't, no big deal. I'm still going to provide as much as I can, the same exact stuff. You just get extra. Thanks, guys. You guys have a great day. I'm actually going to run 3 miles to my parents' house so I can have some tamales. If you don't know what tamales are, look them up on Google. They are freaking delicious. I'll post them on Instagram. Be the Story 87 is my Instagram. Take care, guys.